How's it going, everyone? Data here, and welcome back to the New York Islanders franchise mode here at NHL 25. Moving into episode number 23 for the first half of year number 7, moving into the 2030-31 season. In the last one, we had a strong off-season and made some more moves, and as the last episode was entitled, started to play with fire a little bit, as over the last 3 years here on Long Island, we have been to 3 consecutive Eastern Conference Finals, we've been to 2 Stanley Cup Finals, and we've won 1 Stanley Cup. Now, as great as our team has been, our core, and particularly our top 6, is aging. Matty Barzal is now 33, Bo Horvat is now 35, Brock Besser, after a couple of crazy seasons, is now 33, and then of course Yzerman, Kapanen, and Martone younger, but that's with Laine moving down to the third line, who's 32, and the retirement of Evgeny Malkin, who was like 43. So we did see some changes. 3 of our 6 in the top 6 are still like 32 or 33 or older, so that's not ideal. Brock Besser, after having an 82-point season, back-to-back point-per-game plus years, he's been really good in the postseason as well. He was on an expiring contract, and we could have let him walk. But we decided to say we're going to kick that can down the road for 1 more year. Brock Besser is going to be signed on to a 2-year deal at 33 years of age, 2 years, $13 million per year, the full no-move clause. I know it's very, very costly. That's how good he's been for us. Patrik Laine, who is very thankful for the opportunity that he's gotten here with the Islanders, he's going to enjoy life on the third line, plus be the finisher on the first unit power play. And then come next offseason, when we definitely need to free up more money, Patrik Laine maybe could be expendable. He'll be on the last year of his contract. Ilya Sorokin will definitely be tradable. So Sorokin and or Laine can move out next offseason, as opposed to allowing Besser to walk to free agency, thereby doing 2 things. 1, keeping Brock Besser, and we're staying just as strong as always after 3 consecutive Eastern Conference Final appearances. And if we're going to lose someone, whether that be Laine and or Sorokin, we will get value for them back, not just watch them walk to free agency. So that's how things look moving into year number 7. The big acquisition was our new third-line center in Dylan Cozens. He has spent his entire career in Buffalo so far as the 7th overall pick back in 2019 for the Sabres, and through those 770 games, he has yet to see 1 postseason appearance. So he walked to free agency. The last 2 years, he's been getting under 15 minutes per night the last couple seasons, including 24 points playing under 12 minutes per night 2 years ago. So we're going to give him a chance and try to do what we kind of did with Laine by bringing him on board over here. We gave him a 5-year deal, paying him $5.25 million per season. Worst case, he stays as our third-line center. Best case scenario, he can move up to maybe even being the second-line center once Bo Horvat regresses out of the top 6. Oliver Kapanen's been a fantastic find for us. We picked him up as what, like an 84? Could it be? Maybe he was. I know he grew an 86 pretty quickly, but after that he jumped to an 89 after his 66-point season on the third line last year. He will definitely be seeing second-line minutes this season. Aside from that, you can see in the rest of the team here a little bit of growth. Belchet's now up to an 83 moving into a sophomore season as the reigning Calder Trophy winner. The top 6 looks great. The fourth line is the same as it was last year pretty much. And on defense, a bit more growth there as Dupont's now a 93. Here, check 91, we knew that. Dunn, Sandin, 88, 84. And third pair, Boldzuk with Hornqvist. Speaking of sophomore seasons, Thomas Hornqvist isn't going to be now an 81 overall, who grew from an 80, the 10th overall pick back in 2029. Now, someone who did not grow was the Emperor, Trey Augustine. After he has had some really good, it was his first full season. He's had a couple of good seasons for us. One was a half year plus the playoffs, fine. But he's had 2 full postseasons plus 55 NHL games, and somehow he's still the 81 overall that we got him when he was stuck in the AHL. So through 55 appearances, he's 29, 18, and 6 as an Islander. But last year, appearing in 42 games, went 23, 14, and 4, 5 shutouts, 913 save percentage, 2.45 goals against average. If the game-weighted goalie stats more, then he probably would have won the Calder over Belchet, who had scored like 30-some points to win it. And in the postseason, of course, he was great there too. 9 wins, 3 shutouts, 916 save percentage, 2.47 goals against. In his 19 appearances as an Islander, 13, 4, and 2. 917 save percentage, 2.42 goals against average. Crazy! So Ilya Sorokin continues to regress, now an 85 overall at 35 years of age. We'll see what happens with him over the course of the season. And speaking of some of the older players, Ryan Pulock still on board for 1 more year, 35 years of age, still an original Islander on board as 7th D. And the 13th forward will be Nurmi, who was the 4th round pick back in 2023. Yes, that was before we came in. All right, so there's a quick little state of the team moving into year number 7 down in the AHL. We still have a veteran in Brock Nelson who will be captaining the Bridgeport Islanders. Some medium league guys who are 21, 22 in the first line. Capmano, who's not growing. We'll see what happens. And of course, another defenseman that we're very interested in is Ulf Engqvist, who was the third-round pick in 2028. He was on the top pair in the AHL last year. He'll now be joined by George Bates, who was the first-round pick in 2028, offensive defenseman with low elite potential. So there's a lot to be excited about here on the island, ladies and gentlemen. It's great to see us winning with these older players, but there's a lot to be excited about moving into the future. Not just yet, but it's coming soon enough. And speaking of that future, the major question left to the AGMs in the last one was, do we start to think about some of the contract extensions that will be very difficult for us in the 2031 offseason? We know that we have a lot of money to play with, but a lot of big names to re-sign. Dupont, Barzal, Jiricek, Dunn, Horvat, Belchetz, all needing new contracts, and the majority of those, 4 out of 6, being UFAs. So for example, Matty Barzal will currently be looking for 4 by 13.375, and our extension dollars are just over 35 million. So Barzal wants 13 million. I'm sure Dupont wants, I forget what its number was that like 11? Yeah, 11.8 for 6 years. The big question on Dupont is, do we go 4 years and he's an expiring RFA, 6 years and it's an affordable AAV but he'll be expiring UFA at 27, or 8 years and it costs a little bit more but we get him signed until he's going to be what, like 29, depending on his birthday and all that. As you'll see in the comments that I read through in a moment, there's not a lot of agreement on Dupont. Some saying 4, some saying 8, a couple saying 6 for the contract years on Dupont. I would lean going 4 years, just exclusively in franchise mode world, because we know no matter when his contract expires, whether it be 4 or 8 years, he'll be wanting crazy money. We're talking 15 plus million, if not 18 plus million in the later years, as an offensive defenseman with franchise potential. We know that already. But getting him for 4 years to RFA eligibility will then allow us to give him an 8-year extension after that, with the rights to him to play around in July and whatever else, thereby in the end getting him for a total of 12 years, but it definitely would cost more once 4 years rolls around. But again, we would be able to play around with the RFA years. So Dupont's a tough one. Barzal's going to regress a bit more, probably so with Will Horvat, who's now at top 9 potential. Yeah, definitely going to be a lot of regression from him this year, I would think. And Jiricek, Dunn, they both want big money. There's not really a big rush on having to re-sign those guys now. The only one that probably we will get done right now, again, as I'll see in the comments momentarily, is Ethan Belchetz, who we could probably get to a cheap 2-year deal right now. Not cheap. He just had a rookie year of 30-some points. It would make sense that at 22, 83, third-line role, he takes a bridge deal, and as the older players in the top 6 age out in come 2 years time, and he can hopefully take that top 6 opportunity, that will be when his payday comes. So now that you're caught up to speed, we can start looking at the comments left by the AGMs in the last one, starting out with White Coco, who says exactly what we were just saying. I think you should sign Belchetz at the 2 years that he wants. Take advantage of that asking price with the big names that we have to re-sign. As simple as that. Thank you, White Coco. Gen Z McKenzie says, I think you should sign Belchetz for 3 years and Dupont for 4 years now, in case they ask for more money later on. Also, there are a lot of intriguing players to trade for if we want reinforcements. Yeah, that's another point we were thinking about. Thank you, Gen Z. A lot of players in Detroit, I think even St. Louis, a lot of interesting names out there, like Michael Rasmussen, who we'll see in a moment. So if we did do Ethan Belchetz for 3 years, his demand goes up to 2.375. So it's not a huge jump. Is that going to break the bank? I don't think so, because we probably could get him at 2 years. What do we say for 2 years? If you look realistically, I don't know. We could get him for probably a 1.65 for 2 years. So we're talking like 800K more. And you know what? That might make a difference with how tight extension dollars will be. So, whether it's 2 or 3 years, he's an RFA. But if we were in any other situation aside from having like 6 big names to re-sign, I'd say, yeah, let's go for 3 years, max out the RFA seasons. But with all of that's going to be going on in the 2031 offseason, we probably go the cheaper route. The Hockey Sniper said, hey Data, for some trade ideas, I think a guy like Michael Rasmussen would be useful. Since Ralph Preissing skates like a 5-year-old with like 2-star skating, he might not be able to produce. You can give him or Fagemo and try to get Rasmussen, who can help that 4th line or even play 3rd line when there's an injury or in case Belchetz isn't playing super well. He can play center or wing and is on an expiring deal. So that's one of the many names that we saw on the block from Detroit. Thank you, Hockey Sniper, as I go pull these up. So the Red Wings, here we go. Emil Heineman, Alex DeBrincat, Moritz Seider, Dylan Larkin wouldn't want to come here on his no-trade clause. So Michael Rasmussen, 83 overall, low trade value, left-wing center. We've had him in franchise modes before. 6'6", former 9th overall pick in 2017. That could be something right there. 2.89 million, expiring deal. According to the scout, wouldn't maybe fit the first line. Doesn't really do anything for us. But anyways, he scored 29 points last year in 82 games. Detroit, Ottawa, then back to Detroit. Okay, that's interesting. And it was, probably the role we'd be having him in, if not a little bit higher. Yeah, he wouldn't be a big piece for us, but he'd be a guy that would probably reinforce that bottom 6 in a way that possibly Preissing or Fajimo wouldn't, depending on production. So we'll keep guys like that in mind, absolutely, moving into the halfway point towards the end of this first half episode. The Hockey Sniper also commented, don't forget to watch Besser, Barzal, and Laine for 1,000 games. They'll all be hitting 1,000 games this season. If we go in-game, we should get to see the special presentation for them. Besser will be doing so next episode, but Barzal and Laine should both be hitting 1,000 games, barring any injuries, in this first half. We'll end it off now with Cheating Heel, who said, glad to see we went out and acquired a center just in case we end up needing one. Now let's see if we can turn Cousins' career around like we did with Laine. We might want to give him goals that help our chances of him turning things around. Good idea. He's no Malkin, but if we can do anything to help him fill his boots, we should do it. I'd also look at locking Belchetz right away. We're going to need a lot of cap space next season with the amount of good players needing a new contract. Get him signed before he grows over the course of the season. Getting him signed before he grows over the course of the season could be very helpful in the next coming years with money getting scarce. Next, how is the Emperor not growing? It is beyond me. But hey, as long as he performs, low overall just means he'll cost less money. So EA goalie voodoo at its best. Lastly, I'm concerned about the lack of growth of some of our prospects, Carbonneau, Ivankovic, etc. Do we need to do a coaching overhaul in the AHL? We probably want to swap out a couple of our stagnating kids and hope we can get better success with the ones we acquire. I was expecting both of Carbonneau and Ivankovic to at least have a shot at a regular spot by now, but they aren't cutting it. Pricing is also on the fringe and might need to be traded if he's not showing improvement. With this team getting older, we need our top prospects to show growth. Well said, Cheating Heel. Thank you for leaving that comment. So before we start trading out names, we want to make sure we're making the right trades come not the trade deadline necessarily, but the halfway point of the season. So no trades are happening to start off this episode. We made our moves in the off season, but we will start looking at the AHL coaching staff. We'll set some season goals, do all that kind of stuff, get through the year and see where it takes us. So the coaching staff. NHL staff is good to go. For the coaches down here in the AHL, Bachensky as the head coach isn't going to change, I don't think, because he has A+ influence and A+ teaching. However, at the moment, we have no associate. Actually, we had no assistant and no goalie. Off screen, I've demoted Scuderi down to assistant. I'm going to hire a coach now as associate and then demote him to goalie. And then I'll hire one more actually as the associate with the musical chairs you have to play in franchise mode with coaches. So give me a moment here. I'm going to go into the coaching free agency pool. I'm going to find a couple of AHL coaches and I'll start sending out a couple offers before we set some goals and then advance towards the preseason. All right, back to it now. A couple of season goals. Let's start with the Emperor, Trey Augustine. We're going to try and get him a goal. Maybe that'll do something for his growth. Who knows? Season goal. What can we try and do here? Long term over the course of the season? Sure. So the game doesn't offer us any X Factor challenges for short term or long term. We can only do stat challenges. So this says we want to see you win 25 games this season at the bottom, but then up in the middle it says win 30 games. So I don't know which one it wants. 9, 10 save percentage, that's even more difficult, I think. So we're going to say try and win 25 to 30 games for Trey Augustine, and we'll see what that does for him. So there's a goal for the Emperor. Brock Besser, let's try and keep you young. And we're going to say, yeah, stat challenge. I think that's the simplest of them all. 50 goals, but which one is it? This says 40 goals, that says 50 goals. Which one is it? Still, that's ridiculous. 40 assists is probably more realistic, but this says 30. Is it 30 or is it 40? Let's go for the assist there. Brock Besser is a machine, but if it's 50 goals, that's a bit too crazy. I don't think he's going to hit 50. If he hits 35, that's a really good season from him, but point per game plus is more what we're expecting, not necessarily 40, 50 goals. Cole Eiserman needs some growth. The guy's 86 overall. How is he not higher after having a 43-goal season last year? So how about he could be someone who scores more goals? Does he want, let's see, yeah, stat challenge as well? Because he has some X factors already. Again, is it 40 or is it 50? I don't know. But I'm going to say let's go for the goals on Cole Eiserman. 43 goals last year. Who knows what happens this year? Shoot for the stars. Let's try and keep Bo Horvat young as well, as much as possible with the top 9 potential now. Let's see. Let's go short term on him with the potential dropping and everything. We'll go for a stat challenge in the first half of the year. 8 goals in the first half. Bang. Easy. Why is the game only asking for that from him? So his shooting accuracy was both like 99. I believe they were both at 99. Now they're both at 94, I think. So yeah, let's try and get the shooting accuracies back up by having him score 8 goals in the first half. That shouldn't be hard, unless the game knows something secret here. But he scored 48 goals last year. He went from 44, 46, 48 the last few seasons. Let's see if he jumps by 2 again and finally hits 50. Aside from that, maybe I'll stop there. I don't want to give every single player a goal and try and cheat the system too much. Probably Dylan Cousins is the last one, as Cheating Heel said in that comment. So let's go to Dylan Cousins for a season goal. Maybe he could use an X Factor one because he doesn't have any X factors. Score 15 power play goals, score 30 goals, 3 hat tricks, 40 assists, 750 face-off wins. That's tough. Playing third line. Also playing second unit power play, though. Is it worth giving him the whole season goal of the quick draw to try and get that? I mean, he does have 80 face-offs. Kapanen has it. Horvat has it. He's going to inherit one of those spots, maybe. Let's go face-off wins, then. I don't think I can, honestly say that the goals or the assists or like the hat tricks are more likely than the face-off. So let's go for 750 face-off wins, which should be doable. Third line center plus second unit power play, a penalty kill unit. He's going to be taking a lot of face-offs. And finally, last thing before we can get going, the captaincy. So now with Evgeny Malkin retired, we continue with Captain Bo Horvat, alternate Matty Barzal, but now the second alternate goes to who? The game gives it to Jiricek. I would like to probably give it to Besser, but do I want all the leadership on one line of Horvat, Barzal, Besser? Probably not. So, and Pressing wears 87? Wow. Bold from Ralph Pricing. So I think it probably goes to a defenseman here, and it would be Pulock, but he's 7th D right now. Vince Dunn is moving into his 5th season as an Islander. Jiricek into his 4th, I think. Sandin also going into his 5th, but I think Vince Dunn, it might be his last year here. Let's give it to him. He's been a trooper, moving into his 5th year as an Islander. So Vince Dunn, congrats on the A, well-deserved. So Dunn, Barzal, Horvat. Unless there's any big changes I got to make at the halfway point because you don't like that, that'll be our leadership core in the AHL. Sorry, in the NHL. In the AHL, of course, yes, Brock Nelson, captain. And then, sure, Kale, Engqvist, no problem with me. Whew, okay, so I fixed up the power play units, I fixed up the penalty kill, all that good stuff. Patrick Laine is the finisher on the first unit since he's also playing third line minutes after he had a really good season last year. Hopefully it doesn't mess with him, but he's playing with Cousins. Hopefully that helps him out too. Here's the first unit power play. Here's the second unit power play. Matty Barzal will be playing first line wing for the first time in a long time. He's been playing second line center, but now Kapanen's up there. Let's get this season started. So it's going to start off, no, I don't want to back up. It's going to start out in the preseason, so let's sim to the first game of the preseason against the Hurricanes. Pilar signs on as an associate coach. Great. Could I back out quickly here before the other guy signs on? Yeah, so now, because I sent out 2 contracts, so now I go to coaching staff. Here's the musical chairs that you got to play. This guy's now the associate coach. I already bumped the guy down to goalie coach. This guy gets bumped down to assistant coach, and then I hired somebody else to be the associate coach. So all musical chairs. Sim to next game. Does this guy sign out? Yes, I accept with no reservations. Great, so we got a B- on board as the associate coach. Fantastic. So that should hopefully be helpful for the AHL squad. Lee, what do you want to say? Lee Sogas, you do you, my friend. Take that plus 10. It's already at plus 1,000,000. Take another plus 10, which does nothing. Go ahead, buddy. Simming to the first game here against the Carolina Hurricanes to kick off the preseason. Let's give it a little watch as we'll fly through it. Ilya Sorokin will get the start in this one. Sorokin and Augustine will be sharing the load, of course. First period 2-1. Second period 5-1. Third period 5-1, the final. Nice win. 27 saves on 28 shots from Sorokin. Well done. Okay, a couple of overall changes. Yeah, sometimes it kicks in right as you start simulating into the preseason. Yes, Dylan Cousins up to an 86. I'm not sure if that's because of anything that we gave him over the course of the offseason, but Dylan Cousins does indeed grow from 85 to 86. That's great news for his future. And Ralph Pricing also grows from a 79 to an 80. I don't know if it's because I told him to work on his skating, and it's still 1.5 stars, so I don't think he worked on his skating. But regardless, he's up to an 80 overall now. I don't see any other changes. Okay, that's good. At least there's that. And then on defense, everything's still the same. And goaltending, Augustine? Yes, let's go! Trey Augustine now at 82. Woohoo! 82 Trey Augustine. Wow. Okay, great. Here we go against Dobson and the Blue Jackets. The 82 overall Emperor is in. Goal from Cousins the first period, and we win 4-1. 26 saves on 27 shots for Trey Augustine. We'll go Augustine again as we fly through it now in the main screen sim. And it's a 6-2 win. Very nice. Sorokin in now against the Penguins at home for the next game. Let's see it. 6-5 overtime win. Numbers weren't great, but we do get the win out of it. Okay. Let's give Nurmi a little look. So Pricing will come out, and we're going to give Nurmi a chance on the fourth line just to give him a few reps in the preseason here. Same for Pulock. We'll take out Boldzuk and put Pulock there. Yes. And then goaltending, we'll go back to Augustine for this next game. Here against the Devils on the road, 5-2 win. Trey Augustine continuing the domination. Let's give him another game against the Rangers. We know that Trey Augustine is probably our guy. Sorokin is fine to be there as long as we have the money, but Trey Augustine is slowly starting to push him out more and more. Same lineup here against the Rangers now. We're 5-0 in the preseason. 4-1 win. Augustine does it again. Now the last game of the preseason will come on the road against the Capitals. We'll put Sorokin in for this one. And Nurmi, 2 games, 2 points. What? What did Pricing do when he was in there? 4 games, 2 goals. Huh, really? How about Fajma? What did he get done? 6 games, 3 points, plus 6. Arcuri, what? 3 goals and 5 points, plus 7. The fourth line, I find that's a common trend in the preseason. The fourth line just does so well. So Nurmi, I'll give you one more game. Why not? We'll go back to Sorokin. And on defense, how did Pulock do? It takes so long to get there. Ryan Pulock, 2 games, 2 points, plus 3. This guy's crazy. And Bolduc was doing, what, 4 games, no points, but a plus 2. So you know what? He had his 4 games. Let's go Pulock for 1 more. All right, let's keep Pulock in there. And we'll sim this last game against the Capitals on the road. Do we end 7-0? Come on, Sorokin! No, it's a 2-1 loss. Good numbers, but we couldn't get more than just that 1 goal. All right, so in those 7 games in the preseason, Brock Besser, the $13 million man, 11 points in 7 games. Big Bo with 9, Barzal with 9, Martone 8, Arcuri, Yzerman, and Laine all with 6. Kapanen 5, Sandin 4, and a plus 7. Fajimo with 3. Pricing had 2 goals in 4 games and was a plus 3. Cousins, 2 goals in 7 games, even plus minus, playing 14-17 of ice time. Okay. Pulock, 2 points plus 2 in 3 games. Nurmi, 2 points plus 2 in 3 games. Belchat's just 2 points in 7 games. We got to find a way to boost his ice time. 12-18 is not enough for him. Last year scored 35 points playing under 12 minutes per night, and I wasn't happy with his ice time. We thought Evgeny Malkin out would mean Belchat's in on the power play, but that has now become a Dylan Cousins spot. That's the problem. Jiricek, 2 points. Dunn, 2 points. Hornqvist with an assist. Two assists, sorry. Dupont only 1 assist. What? Really? And Bolduc, no points in 4 games, but a plus 2. While the goaltending, Trey Augustine 4-0, 936 save percentage, 1.5 goals against. Sorokin wasn't bad, 2-1, 914 save percentage, 2.62 goals against. But Trey Augustine will be the starter for the first game of the season. Okay, so let's sim to the first game. Actually, no, it's October 9th. I already missed it by a few days. Let me update the scouting, and then we'll advance to the first game of the season against the Sharks. Okay, back and ready to roll. Trey Augustine will be our starter for Game 1 of the season, of course. Now, for the rest of the 13th forward, 7th D questions. Pulock, as good as he was in those 3 games, 2 points plus 2, it's hard to take out Bolduc, has been such a staple on that third pair. But at the same time, he's also approaching 1,000 career games played. Will he reach 46 games played this season? I don't know, as 7th D. Will we get injuries like that? Who's to say? But with a solid preseason, I think we at least give him the first, 5-10 games of the season, with Bolduc still there as the guy who we're going to continue to have as a third pair for years and years to come. Bolduc is not going anywhere. I know he's only on an aspiring deal as well, but he's not going anywhere. He's going to continue to be a third pair guy for us, and we're not disrespecting him by saying, hey, you lost your spot to Pulock. We're just saying, we're going to give the first game of the season here in 2030 to one of the longest serving players on the team, and we'll go from there. Pricing started as he come back in. Nurmi 2 points plus 3 in 3 games. Versus Pricing, who's up to an 80 now and had those 2 goals plus 3. So we'll give Ralph the chance back in the third line, but Nurmi showed himself to be capable. Speaking of Bolduc, by the way, I'd love to get him signed or locked up a bit longer term. 1.6 it was the contract that he was on. 2 years, $2 million. He's in for that. I'm even okay with going like 3 years, but he really wants the 2 years. However, the shorter we go, the more he'll cost later on, as the price of defensemen just in general will increase. So 4 years. 50% no trade, 4 years, $2 million for a third pair defenseman in the NHL of the 2030s, with a salary cap at $110+ million in the coming years. 4 years at $2 million, or 2 years at like 1 point something. So, or like 1.8 range. So a couple hundred extra K to get the extra 2 years, I think is worth it. If he signs it even. There's not a guarantee at 4 years of term. So we'll go 4 years and see what he says to that. If not, we can always wait till the off-season, but I'd like to get him signed on longer term because he has been a really consistent piece for us. Now, let's sim to the regular season, ladies and gentlemen, for Game 1 of Year 7. We're facing off against Trey Augustine's old team, the San Jose Sharks. Bolduc rejects. It's not enough cash there, so we'll wait a bit on that. Maybe we can do it at the halfway point. But now we're ready to roll into our 7th season at the helm of the Islanders, ready to try and achieve a 4th consecutive Eastern Conference Final, our 3rd Stanley Cup Final in the last 4 years, and William Trudeau on waivers. Let's see, what's he at here? 77 overall depth? No, we will decline that. And ultimately, it would be our second cup in 4 years if we could do it here in 2030-31. So Trey Augustine against the team that buried him and never gave him a chance in the NHL. Here we go, hosting them at UBS Arena for the first game of year 7. All right, here we go. First period, 1-0 Isles, and Cole Eiserman will open up the season, ladies and gentlemen, 1-0 after 20. Second period, 3-2 Sharks as they come out fast in the second period with a couple of power play goals. Eklund scores twice in 21 seconds. Boucher adds another there. That's 3 goals in like a minute and 9 seconds. Besser gets one back for us. We're down 3-2 after 40. Besser and Eiserman scoring for us in the top 6. Will Smith makes it 4-2. Now on Sorokin, who came in to replace Augustine, unfortunately. Extended power play goes nowhere as we are still down by 2. Hold on, Fazio makes it a 1-goal game on home ice with a power play now late in the first, killed off by the Sharks. 5 minutes to go. Could we get one more late to see overtime? Big push in the end of the third. 40 seconds! But the Sharks hang on as shots end tied at 35. But the Sharks win 4-3. Eklund, 2 goals, 2 assists. Ryan Pulock, the veteran, 2 assists. Good thing we kept him in. And the stats, how did the goaltenders look in this one? So Augustine was pulled after 3 goals on 18 shots, and then Sorokin allows 1 on 17. All right. Not the way we want us to start the year, but all right. As our next game, we'll be hosting the LA Kings. Ethan Sampson on waivers. Let's see. Placed on waivers by the Senators. He's 77 depth. No, I will also decline on him. All right. LA Kings now. Do we go back to Andrew Peeke on waivers? Another defenseman being placed on waivers. My goodness. Peeke 79 overall. If we didn't have a 7th D, I'd be all over Andrew Peeke, but no need to really do that at this time. So we will decline Andrew Peeke. All right. On to the LA Kings. Do we go back to Augustine? If we're going to try and make him our legit starter, we got to put him back in. It wasn't even an abysmal night. 3 on 18. It wasn't abysmal. Let's go back to him with another home game in the slow sim before we get to the calendar. As soon as we get that just first win of the year. All right. First period, 1-0 Isles. Dylan Cousins on the power play. His first goal as an Islander in his second game. 1-0 Isles after 20. Second period, 2-2 as Leeson scores early. Then Porter Martone shorthanded makes it 2-1 again. And then Wieland ties it at 2. Shots are 31-17 for the Isles. But we are all tied after 40. Third period now on home ice in front of the fans for the California swing here as San Jose and LA coming through town. Halfway through the third period, still all tied, still leading the shots by quite a bit. Power play for the Kings, killed off. Big pounding kill there with now 2 minutes to go. Will we see overtime? Yes, we will. Shots end 44-28 in our favor. 3-on-3 overtime now against the Kings, and we win in overtime! Bo, top 50 Horvat, the captain wins it! 3-2 Isles, the final. Shots end 45-28, and we win our first game of the year. Bo Horvat, first star honors for the captain. Martone, a goal and an assist, and Trey Augustine turns it around, makes 28 saves, and gets third star honors. All right, there we go. So now we can head to the calendar and try to get a little bit of, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks or so done. Tampa, Buffalo. Actually, let's see Buffalo, and then we'll sim to New York, because we want to see Cousins against his old team. So we'll sim through the game against the Lightning at home after that 3-2 victory to start things off. Brock Nelson, sore foot down in the AHL. We can just do a head coach out for like 3 weeks with a sore foot, really. 6-2 win against the Lightning. There we go. Now hosting the Sabres. We are 2-1 to start the year. First period here, 2-1. Kapanen pricing, I always forget. And Joseph scoring for the Sabres, 2-1 after 20. Second period, 3-1. Porter Martone on Gabriel Daigle. 3-1 Isles, up by 2. Power play early in the third is killed off. And then Weinrich makes it a 1-goal game, 3-2. But Eiserman restores our 2-goal lead, 4-2 Isles. Halfway through the third, shots in Buffalo's favor. Power play Islanders, killed off by Buffalo. And with a 2-goal lead with 5 minutes to go, will that be enough? Shots tied at 32. It looks like it will be another win here. And getting it against the Cousins' old team. Sandin adds the empty netter, and we win 5-2. Nice. Now we'll go see the rematch of the Eastern Conference Final. That saw us get eliminated. Hornqvist, injured leg, out for a few games. So Boldzuk will replace, and he'll play with Pulock on that third pair. So now we'll go to see the Battle of New York once again against the Rangers. We eliminated the Rangers on our run to the Stanley Cup, and they eliminated us on their run to the Stanley Cup. So now we face them for the first time since losing the Eastern Conference Final in the 2030 postseason. We'll see the Ducks, the Sharks, and the Canucks Western Conference matchups there. I'm going to keep Hornqvist out for one more game. I'll let him rest up for the whole California trip. Bridgeport, so 5-3 loss, 5-1 win, 6-4 win, and now let's fix up the lines Brock Nelson fully healed. Okay. So many little injuries. 2-1 shootout loss. Now I'll fix things up before this game against the Rangers. 5-2-1 is the record through 7 games. Now we'll go and fix things up before the game against the Rangers. We are 5-2-1 through 8 games so far. What? And like 8 games into the season, the growth that we saw is now gone. As Dylan Cousins went from 85 to 86 for like 5 seconds, and I was back to an 85. And Augustine also up to an 82, now back to an 81 again. What is going on? Dupont did see some positive growth, thankfully, as his bouncer superstar ability has become a gold zone ability. So at least that's nice. But still, come on now. Okay, back to it. Here we go. Big game against the Rangers. We're going to keep Trey Augustine in. And we're on the road at MSG. They're 5-1-2. We're 5-2-1. Shesterkin's numbers look great right now as well. Let's do it against the reigning Stanley Cup champs. The Islanders and the Rangers have been the Eastern Conference Final representatives in the Stanley Cup Final for the last 4 years now? It's crazy. All right, first period, and the Rangers open up 1-0. Hedl had a power play goal. They had a 5-on-3 there, so that's 1-0 Rangers after 20. Second period, 2-2 game. There you go. Dupont shorthanded. Jiricek makes it 2-1, so we have a shorthanded goal, even strength, then a power play goal for the Rangers from Berard. So both their goals on the power play. One of ours even strength, one shorthanded. We're out shooting them 25-20. Power play Rangers killed off to start the third period. We have a tie game on the road, 15 minutes to go. Let's do it. From down 1-0 to up 2-1, now tied back 2-2. We're being outshot slightly. Both our goals coming from defensemen. Top 6, let's do it. Brock Besser, Bo Horvat, Matty Barzal, that new first line. No, Kasperi Kapanen! Oh, with 2 minutes left, and the Rangers win in regulation as the shots end 33-33. Oh, Shesterkin makes 31 saves. He's been incredible this year. And we dropped that one in regulation. Oh, my goodness. So that was the 8th game of the season. Or, sorry, the 9th game of the season. We'll do 10, 11, and then go see game number 12, as I believe that will be Matty Barzal's 1,000th NHL game. Ryan Pulock, upper body injury, no problem. Bolchuk comes right in. On the road against the Flyers, 6-4 win. Now we'll be hosting the Ottawa Senators, if this simulation could speed up at all. Hosting them, 7-2 victory. And let's see. Yes, this will be game number 1,000 for Matty Barzal, all as an Islander. The former 16th overall pick in 2015, now in the year 2030, will play his 1,000th NHL game, all with the organization that he won the Calder and Stanley Cup with. Let's hop in. Here we are at PPG Paints Arena. Will the game do anything for Matty Barzal? Let's find out. The 7-3-1 Isles facing the, 6-5-0 Pens. And no, nothing is done. That's cool. There definitely used to be something there, but whatever. 3-1 win, that's great. Now we'll have Sorokin play against the 2-10-0 Chicago Blackhawks. Please, Sorokin, do not drop this. Oh my goodness, I just saw this as well. Ethan Belchetz has 1 goal in 12 games. After winning the Calder last year, 1 goal. What got him going last season was when he put him into the top 6 as a little jump start. Would that do anything for him right now? Anyone struggling in the top 6 that we could try and drop down to the 3rd line or something? Besser, 9 points. Now, everyone's doing okay. Everyone's doing all right. So, I'm going to drop down. I can't do more because we gave him a promise in his contract. So, maybe it's Kapanen? Let's swap Kapanen and Cousins. Yeah, because Cousins is center left wing. So, we'll go Belchetz, Horvat, Besser. Then Barzal, second line center. Cousins, Kapanen, line on the 3rd line. Let's just go a few games like that to see if it does anything for Belchetz, as he's becoming trade bait in a big way before the trade deadline coming up. And goaltending, yes. So Sorokin gonna get this one against the Blackhawks. Let's go, Sorokin. It's all you. On the road at United Center. 4-0 shutout victory. Okay, Ilya, I see you. I see you. That gets you a game at home against the Canucks. Congrats, big boy. There you go. And Pulock is healthy, but let's keep on rolling after a 4-0 win. We'll keep him scratches for a couple of games here. Summers for a little packet from Maple Leafs. No, thank you. All right, Bella, let's see what you got now here against the Canucks. Bo Horvat against his old team, hosting at the UBS Arena, 6-2 win against the Canucks. Thank you very much. Sorokin, keep it rolling, buddy. No problem with me. Let's go against the Montreal Canadiens, hosting again on home ice. 4-3 shootout loss. I'll give you one more against the Lightning. Before this back-to-back, we'll see a split. Hosting Tampa, 7-3 win. Okay, Sorokin has crazy numbers. Let's go Augustine against the Canadiens, and then we'll go back to Sorokin against the Sabres. Ethan Belchetz, man, let's see, got a goal and an assist over how many games? Game logs? That's probably, I think it was, against Chicago. So 4 games on the first line, but 1 game injured. So really 3 games, a goal and an assist in 3 games. Okay. Let's keep on seeing what happens there. As we'll go back to Augustine here. I made a change in the AHL as well because auto goalie rotate is turned off. So, okay. Ivankovic goes back there. Also trade bait. Ivankovic, Carbonneau, maybe Belchet's. A lot of potential trade bait moving into the halfway point at the end of this episode. Here we are at the Bell Center. 5-1 win with Augustine between the pipes. Great. Ethan Belchet's buddy. No points there. Okay. Sorokin back in. Great problem to be having when both goalies are performing. No problem with me. Advancing through his game against the Sabres, who are 7-10-1. 5-4 win. We are 13-3-2, 8-1-1 in our last 10. Let's keep it rolling against the Penguins, hosting them with Sorokin staying between the pipes. Summers in a fourth for a third or fourth and a random. No thank you. Against the Pens, who are a losing team, we lose 4-2 against them, of course. I'll give him one more before I get another back-to-back. Sorokin against the Hurricanes on the road, 5-2 loss. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to Augustine. If he does well against the Blue Jackets, we'll keep him against the Devils. So the numbers dropping back down a little bit on Sorokin, 9-12 save percentage, 2.82, while Augustine, 9-19, 2.47. So we'll go back to Trey for a little stretch, and we'll do it in the calendar as well. A lot of back-to-back, so we'll sim through this back-to-back, then the next back-to-back, and then we'll stop at the back-to-back after that, going through one of them, and potentially Sorokin will play against the Predators. All right, so here we go. On the road against hosting the Blue Jackets. Of course, it won't show me the record anymore. 6-2 win, 7-5 win against New Jersey. Great. Allowing 5 goals isn't great. Let's see Augustine against the Canadiens. Central Scouting, thank you. 4-3 win, awesome, and good thing that reminded me because the scouting ended a couple of weeks ago. So I'll go fix the scouting report, then we'll keep on simming to the game against the Predators. Okay, so continuing on to the Predators, we'll go through the Jets here in a Stanley Cup Final rematch from a few years ago, facing off, hosting the Jets in a 6-4 loss. On the road against the Hurricanes, 4-2 win, and then on the road against the Flames, 4-3 win. Do we stick with Augustine against the 15-7-4 Predators? Okay. We'll go to Sorokin. Any game in particular? Let's go against the Flyers, all right? Let's keep on going towards the Flyers. A few more games for Augustine. We really want to give him the chance to be that guy through thick and thin. 4-2 win against the Preds on the road. We just lost against the Hurricanes a few days ago, and now we're offered Duclair there in a trade. 5-4 overtime win, 4-3 win, couple of games from 1-goal margins, and a 4-2 win. There you go. After that loss against the Jets, that is a 6-game win streak to bring us to 22-6-2. Definitely on pace already to hit 50-plus wins for now a third consecutive year it would be. On the road against hosting the Flyers, we'll put Sorokin in now. And how's Belchet's doing now? 6 goals, 7 assists. Okay, so he woke up a little bit, but we're not going to give him first-line minutes forever. So game logs, since that game against the Blackhawks we brought him up for, not including the game where he played 1 minute and a half, we'll say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 games on the first line. He's been enjoying life. Goal and assist last game, a couple assists there. He had a little point streak going as well. That's awesome. But this is not his home right now. This is not right. This is not proper to have these players. Oliver Kapanen playing 15, 22 per night. This is not the role that we promised him. He was a trooper for 15 games. He was a good team player, but this is not what he expected, and that's not what we're going to be giving to him. So, Dylan Cousins, can you stay on the third? Yeah, okay. So, Cousins is going to stay there. Kapanen will come back to where he's supposed to be. Barzal back to the first line, and all will be right in the universe once again. But like I said, Kapanen needs to get back to the top 6. That is his rightful place. So this, keeping track internally in our heads if we want to, the game against the Flyers is the day that things change. If we go back to the game logs, we want to look on Belchet's and Barzal. The game against the Flyers is where we move back to normal. So anyways, back to Sorokin between the pipes, and we'll give him an opportunity. Facing the 9-19-3 Philadelphia Flyers at home, 4-1 victory. Nice, there you go. That's what we want to see from you, Sorokin. And now we face the Rangers on the road. Sorokin again, coming off of a 4-1 win. I know he's not our starter, but that's a good showing right there. We're 9-1-0 in our last 10 games. Yeah, why not? Before the Christmas break, let's let Augustine rest. And it's a 4-2 loss. All right, I learned my lesson. So, Augustine back in. Merry Christmas, everyone. And then we'll get back-to-back before New Year's Eve. Let's sim through the Christmas break. We have the Kings, Golden Knights, then the Oilers on a little swing, including, and then even the Kraken, all away games. So, we'll sim through those first two. Yeah, let's go see on New Year's Day. Let's go see against the Oilers. So, 2 games on the road. Kings, 4-3 loss. Golden Knights, 4-2 win. Very nice. All these injuries down in the AHL. Ridiculous. On the road now against the Oilers, who are 17-14-4. We want our 25th win of the year to open up the 2031 calendar year. First period, 1-0 Isles, Big Bo Horvat. Second period, 5-0 Isles. Done. Besser, Cousins, and Yzerman. That'll be all she wrote. Just call it a day. 5-1 the final. Tomasino adds 1 on Augustine as he makes 21 saves. We outshoot them 42-22. Done. Cousins with 3 points. Awesome. Lovely. All right, 5-1 win there to open up the 2031 calendar year. Wonderful. Welcome to 2031, everybody. Let's go host the Rangers. Why not? Let's go through the game against the Kraken on the road. We'll come back. Multiple players in Bridgeport, as always. All right, back to it now. On the road against the Kraken. Good, fully healthy. The 2016-4 Kraken. No thank you, Vancouver. Beat us 3-2 in the shootout. Now, for the first time, we're hosting the Rangers. We've played 2 games at MSG, if I'm not mistaken. Now we will finally be hosting the Rangers. This is game... is it game 40? Is that it? Here we go. First period, 3-0 Rangers right off the bat. Doc, Peterka twice. Oh boy, Peterka in New York. 6-3 after 40. We score 3 goals, but they score 6. 9 goals in 40 minutes scored in this one. As Augustine is still in there, I think. Line on the power play, Dunn shorthanded, and Hornqvist even strength are 3 goal scorers. 6 on 21 past Augustine and maybe Sorokin, I'm not sure. Let's just call it a day. 8-5 the final. What? What a game. Hornqvist scores shorthanded. Another power play goal. Almost all of our goals came, 4 of the 5 goals came on the power play or shorthanded. 1 even strength goal for us, as they got 8 on 35 past Trey Augustine, who that just blows up all of his numbers as we move into the halfway point. 8 on 35, a 771 save percentage. Come on. Plus minuses in this one, -3 from Dupont, Line, -2 from Cousins, Martone, Yurchek, Belshets. Yikes, that was a brutal one. Okay, so let's give a couple games to Sorokin. That was game 37, so 38, 39, 40. Let's go with 3 of Sorokin and 1 of Augustine to end off the first half to really give us a picture of, are we considering a Sorokin trade at the halfway point, or would it be in the offseason? Next 3 games, all you, Ilya, your last chance to show us something and try to push to the end of this year if you want to remain on this team. The Golden Knights are 2-4-4 in their last 10. Can we take advantage of them hosting this game here? Yurchek is healthy. Okay, that's good. And it's a 3-1 loss. Wow. Allowing 2, maybe 3 with an empty net, but we only score 1. So we score 5 and we allow 8, or we score 1 and we allow 3. Against the Penguins now, they're 15-23-1, and we lose 5-4 in the shootout. We score 4, but we allow 4 as well, then go to a shootout. Sorokin, here's your last chance against the Lightning on the road, and it's a 6-3 win. Okay. As we'll now go to Augustine for the last game of the first half. Oh boy, here we go against the Devils. Very similar record, actually, like we saw last year. We're 26-10-4, they're 25-13-4. They've played, 2 more games than us? Here we go. At home, hosting the Devils for the end of the first half of our 7th season. We're currently on pace for 52 wins. Can we make it 54? First period, at home, 2-0 Devils early. Hughes and Hischier. Second period, 2-0 it remains. Shots 23-19 for the Devils. Better in the second, but we still have not been scoring enough goals in the sim as of late. I don't know what happened the last 5 games, what flu's been going around or what, but the goal scoring has not been there as we're now being shut out through 54 minutes here. Into the last 5 minutes, okay, and we lose 3-0. Cool. So we end the first half of year number 7 with a cold streak. Despite that, we are 26-11-4. We're on pace to go 52-22-8, so I'm not upset about that. I'm more upset that our last 10 see us go 3-5-2. That's my problem. So let's dive into the numbers here through the first half. Bo Horvat leading the way. He's down to an 86 overall, I notice. Okay, so we sit atop the Metropolitan Division at the moment, and we also sit atop... No, we don't sit atop the Eastern Conference, but we have 4 games in hand over the Red Wings, and we're just 1 point back. The Blues currently leading the league. The Jets are still a strong team. It always goes back to that trade we made with them. I think it was the right move for them at that time, and I think they're reaping the benefits of having that young elite forward in their lineup too, if you know from previous episodes. So we're 4th in the NHL with our record, 2nd in the Eastern Conference. 4.05 goals for per game puts us 2nd in the league. 2.93 goals against per game puts us 6th lowest in the league. But it's not great that all the teams that are better are also at the top. 1st, 5th, 6th, 3rd, 8th. It's not like it's a random 22nd place team. All those top teams, all those teams that are better than us for goals against are also with us or above us in the standings. Power play percentage sits at 18.3. Last year was great. We saw a franchise mode best of this series so far, power play and penalty kill. 18.3 is not bad. We're in the top half for sure. Just below the Rangers as well. And the penalty kill sits at 77.6. Fourth worst in the league. So we'll definitely be making penalty kill changes moving into next episode. But what else? Let's look at the points through 41 games. Bo Horvat is on pace for 42 goals and 98 points. 98-point pace from Bo Horvat, now down to an 86 overall. Still getting it done, though. He beat those 8 goals in the first half of the season, so does his shooting accuracy go up? I'm not sure. 94, 96. Will we see it increase after next game or something? I don't know when it kicks in, if there's going to be a conversation. I'm not sure. Porter Martone, whoa, surprising us. Porter Martone, who has had 3 consecutive seasons of around the 60-point range, 20 goals every season as well. He's now on pace for 30 goals and 88 points. What a big year for Porter Martone, who's putting it together at the age of 24 now. And doing so with only 17-15 of ice time, not 21-33 like last year. Whoa! Matty Barzal has 44. He's on pace for 88 as well. Brock Besser's on pace to go point per game with more than point per game, with 84 points being his pace right now. Cole Eiserman on pace to hit 36 goals and 78 points. Very nice from him. Landon Dupont, there we go. That's what we've been waiting to see from him, on pace for 64 points. Patrick Laine, despite the lower ice time at just under 13 minutes per night, he does have 14 goals and 31 points, so he's on pace for 28 goals and 62 points. Only 3 power play goals. He's the finisher there. I don't know. Dylan Cousins, yes, on pace for 60 points right now, playing under 14 minutes per night, but better environment, better surroundings, better situations going on. Great. Oliver Kapanen, however, the ice time has gone back up since we put him back to the second line. 26 and 41. He's on pace for just 52. I say just 52. He's a two-way guy. Points aren't his only thing, but he did score 60 last year as third-line center. So I'd like to see a bit more from Oliver Kapanen. David Jiricek on pace for 50 points. He keeps getting better. Oh my goodness, 32, 42, now this year on pace for 50. Even 23, 23, 32, 42, now on pace for 50. Oh my goodness, wow. Fajma on pace for 40 points as a fourth liner playing 8.5 minutes per night. How can we get this guy some more ice time, maybe? Ethan Belchetz. So, since we moved him back to the third line, that was the game against the Flyers, we had said. Since we moved him back, 1 goal, 2 assists, that's it. So then 3 goals, 3 assists. And the plus minus doesn't look great either. I'm honestly, it might be crazy, I'm kind of down to trade Ethan Belchetz. Vince Dunn 17, pricing with 11. Hornqvist 10 points in 37 games and a plus 17. Awesome. Mercury 9. Sandin 7 points plus 11. Bozuk 6 points in 35 games with a plus 2. Pollock 2 points even plus minus in 10 games on the year. Currently sitting at 964. There's 41 games left in the season. He's 36 games away from playing 1,000 games. Maybe in the second half we give him that spot. I don't know. For goaltending, Trey Augustine in 30 appearances is 21-7-2 with a .908 save percentage and 2.85 goals against average. Meanwhile, Ilya Sorokin in 13 appearances, 5-5-2, 1 shutout, .913 save percentage, 2.71 goals against average. Okay, so that's how things sit points-wise. We know they're definitely going to be making changes for the special teams, namely the penalty kill, maybe the power play, up to you. But I wouldn't be opposed to some sort of third-line move. Is there a prospect ready to take that spot? Actually, let's look at the progress reports quickly. Any growth at all from anyone in the organization? Actually, you should probably sort by overall. Anyone? Bates up to a 77. That's awesome. George Bates is growing. Hakana up to a 76. Nazarov up to a 70. A 75. That's great. Malkin 74. So are any of those guys ready to make the jump within the next season? I'm not sure about that. So either we promote pricing, or we get an expiring third-line guy, or we get a guy who's going to be a new full-time third-liner. Or maybe even Vajmo gets promoted, and we get some sort of fourth-line guy like a Rasmussen. I don't know. But let's check the trade blocks before we end off the episode, doing our due diligence to look around the National Hockey League and see who's out there. As you know, Sorokin could be trade bait, Belchetz could be trade bait. And speaking of that, we should probably look at the trade value that Belchetz has, which would be this much, quite a bit. Quite a bit at 83 overall. Looking at the rest of the players here. There you go, if you want a quick little peek. Now let's look at the blocks. All right, so Drew O'Connor, 82 overall, expiring deal. Mathieu Olivier in Anaheim. Boston, Lindholm, it would be open to coming here. Elias Lindholm, 86 overall at 7.75 million, expiring deal. Horrible numbers right now in Boston, though. Yeesh. Bobby Brink, Holmberg, Evans. As always, if there's a name you want to see more about, just let me know. I can let you know in the comments or in the Discord server. Prospects here. This guy, Terrence Cheveldave. We already got Simard as a prospect from the Sabres a couple episodes ago, so I don't know if we want to do that. But also Pressburg out here, 75-20. In Calgary, nobody. Carolina, not much. Bordelot, Foodie. Chicago, Sam Bennett, doesn't want to come here, but I wouldn't take him anyways at that contract. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, maybe? 85 overall at 37, expiring deal. Some decent numbers. Teravainen, Brandstrom, 6 by 7.56. How did Eric Brandstrom get that? Again, offensive defenseman. We've seen that. Nurse, Blankenberg. Colorado, nobody. Columbus, prospects. Okay, 71-19. If you want to see more about, medium top 6. Interesting. But are we looking to pick up just a prospect back in a deal? I'm not sure. Nice to see options, though, in Columbus. Dallas, not much. Detroit. Brinkett and Larkin both wouldn't be open to coming here. So Seider, Heineman, and then Rasmussen down would all be options from Detroit. The Red Wings are 28-16-2, though. Why are they sellers? Why are you sellers? Come on. Come on, game. So keep them in mind. And also further down the list, there's like a Roslovic, guys like that too. 2 years left on his deal, though. No one in Edmonton. Florida, not much there. Los Angeles, a few, none expiring, but some 82 overall plus options. I'm just looking at who'd be open to coming here. They all would be with their no-trade clauses, modified no-trade clauses. Minnesota, Montreal, Nashville, Duclair on the block, 2 years left. New Jersey, New York Rangers, Ottawa Senators, the Flyers, the Penguins, Johnson, San Jose, Seattle, Dylan Strome would be open to coming here. Center, Cousins goes to the wing, but he's 33, expiring deal. St. Louis, Jake Neighbors, 86 on an expiring deal. That could be interesting. Jake Neighbors, 2 goals in 42 games and 16 assists. What is going on? Shooting at 3.8%. What in the world? Playing only 10:54 of ice time, but okay, Novak would be open to coming here. Then Lundstrom, Voigt, Toffoli even, some depth scoring. Tyler Toffoli, 17 goals for Toffoli, but 2 goals from Neighbors. Tampa Bay, Chernak would be open to coming here. Expiring deals a defenseman. Keandre Miller, J.J. Moser, 6 years left though. Okay, interesting from Tampa. Toronto, and by the way, St. Louis, are they a winning team? I hadn't checked that. St. Louis, they're 31-10-1. Oh, St. Louis. That's Tampa, Toronto, Vakanainen, Utah Hockey Club. Not much going there. Some younger names. Vancouver, Bemstrom, Cardwell. Vegas, Thomas Hertl. Not open to coming here, though. Washington, Nick Paul. And Winnipeg, Mark Scheifele. Not open to coming here. So Trent Frederick and down. All right. And finally, I'll just fly through the goalie situations for any teams that might make sense. 381 overall plus goalies from the Hurricanes. 382 overall goalies in Detroit, 2 of them on expiring deals, and they have a good prospect in their system coming up. I could see Detroit moving a goalie. Dostal right now, crazy numbers, but would Detroit want to move him? Probably not. It would probably have to be Sebastian Cossa if they moved one. Dostal's playing way too well right now. I wonder, is Sorokin even open to going to Detroit? He would not be, so it'll be tough. Some sort of 3-team thing would have to happen, but they're winning and Dostal's doing well. He's not on their block. I don't see it. 4 goalies who are 80 overall plus in Los Angeles, and 2 of them are on the trade block. Linus Ullmark expiring at 37, but really good numbers actually with Los Angeles. And Merzlikins down in the AHL, not great. Samuel Ursa on the trade block, but 5 more years at 4.8 as an 83 overall. Good numbers in just 8 appearances, but do we want that contract? I don't know about that. Do we bring back Hunter Jones, 380-plus overall goalies in Vancouver? I wonder. Aiden Hill on the block, as there are 381-plus overall goalies in Vegas, but 1 more year after this one at 5.7, now at 34 years old. Probably not. Washington, Winnipeg, there you go. And down in the AHL, by the way, here's how scoring looks right now. The Carbonneau doing okay, but 24-77, still not growing. Is it time to trade him away and get some other prospects that we just saw in the trade blocks? Bates doing well, Engqvist doing well, so 2 of those, both of our top pair defensemen, both with over 20 points each. That's nice to see. And Ivankovic, how the numbers looking on him. Not great, honestly. Not the best team in Bridgeport, but 14, 12, and 2. 2 shutouts, sub 900 save percentage, 3 goals against average, still a 76 at 23. Probably time to cut bait on him as well. Make Stepan the starter. I don't know. I don't know. We're winning 21, 13, and 2, but not a good record from Jack Ivankovic. Last thing to do before we end off the episode is take a little peek at the contract extensions. Oh, but what? I totally forgot about Belchetz. I totally forgot. But you know what? Maybe it works better like that. We haven't been impressed at all with Belchetz. He might be trade bait. Maybe it's better that we didn't sign him. I totally forgot because I wanted to do Boldzuk and then it just slipped my mind totally. But maybe it's better that we didn't extend him because now we want to trade him. I don't know. But Zupon, what would he be asking? He was asking for 11.8. I forgot how many years. Now he's at 12.35. 4 years RFA in the 12.5 range. And then 8 years, 15.2. Okay. Matty Barzal, what's he looking at? He's probably one that we wait on. He's at 3 by 12.85. David Jiricek is definitely, I think, the biggest of the UFAs. 6 by 11.275. Not a ton of organizational interest either. That's difficult. Does he really want the 6 years? Or could we play around with that? If he really wanted the 6 years and gave him a no-move clause, full no-move allows us to get down into the 9s. Probably 9.5 on a full no-move, or maybe a little bit lower if it's 6 years. If it's some sort of modified, even like 75%, I think that would work pretty well. Or we can backload it, whatever it might be. So you're checking in the 9.5 range for 6 years, unless we go even longer than that. Vince Dunn, how's he looking now at 34 years of age? I wouldn't mind 1 or 2 years on him. He wants 2 years, 6.2. We'll probably wait on him as he might drop to top 4 potential. Bo Horvat now at top 9 potential at 86 overall is at 2 years, 8.675, so he'll continue to drop a bit more. Belchetz we saw, and that's about it. Okay, good to know. So leaving your thoughts on a lot of different things. Trade possibilities, contract extensions, penalty kill, lineup changes and whatnot. Potentially cutting loose Ilya Sorokin and or Ethan Belchetz. A lot to think about, but still a successful first half. It's just those last 10 that leave a sour taste in my mouth as we're 3-5-2 to end off the first half. But 26-11-4, on pace for 52 wins. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and of course, subscribe if you haven't already to be made aware of all of our uploads here on the channel. Our live stream series, Ottawa Senators Hockey Legacy Manager 25 on Tuesdays. Our brand new Toronto Blue Jays MLB The Show 25 franchise mode series on Thursdays, and of course Islanders career sims throughout. New career sim coming your way at the start of next week. Keep an eye out for that. Thanks again for watching. Looking forward to reading your thoughts down here on YouTube or over in the Discord server linked in the description, and I'll see you in the next one.